You're listening to Puma Podcast.
In my fiction technique class, I will always tell my students to avoid beginning with broad themes. No, one must begin with a story. I would tell them. As a writer, my commitment, I think, is to the story, to the craft, not the message first.
That's Filipino novelist and literature professor Clarissa Militante, author of Different Countries. Now that World Book Day on April 23 is fast approaching, she joins us on an insightful conversation about women in Philippine literature. In this episode, Professor Clarissa shares her personal journey as a writer, the feminist authors that people should read, and advice to aspiring writers. Join us as we explore the roles, challenges, and evolving narratives of Filipino writers. I'm Jin Garcia, and you're listening to Teka Teka, powered by Puma Podcast.
Yes, I am Clarissa Militante. Well, I'm a full-time faculty member of the De La Salle University Literature Department. So yeah, I teach literature and creative writing classes, and I am also a writer, specifically a novelist. I write novels.
So, could you share a bit about your background and what drew you to literature and particularly the works of Filipino writers?
My undergrad was AB literature, so I was really drawn to reading, specifically fiction, novels, and then later there was that urge to write. No, it felt like I was compelled to write, and the fiction genre was the most appealing to me. And I felt I could write in the fiction genre, and so these two for me cannot be separated. And in my classes, I always tell my students that also reading and writing literature are bound together. For the works of Filipino writers, perhaps yes, because my orientation also is towards promoting, advocating for the feminist perspective, not only in literature but outside of it. But I don't only choose to read works by Filipino writers. I do have an inclination to prioritize reading them, female writers, female authors, especially if they're really good and if their works are well written. So that there's that added element as well to choose what I'd like to read, and it's not just because of the politics of the text, no, and also because we have a elective called Women's Literature, and I teach that. No, and in fact, currently we offered that course this term, and I am teaching it to literature majors.
So, how would you define the role of Filipino writers in shaping Philippine literature?
Always, I can only speak for myself. I don't want to include others, no, uh, because we all have each our own. I think experiences or trajectories in life. No, but for me, my political activism preceded my being a writer. No, so when I was a student, I was an activist. After I left university, also LaSalle, I was involved in activism, in civil society organizations. No, but the two, perhaps for lack of a better word, the two aspects of my identity also merge. No, my politics influences my writing. I think that's unavoidable, and also my perspective as my role in society and in shaping Philippine literature. But I would like to believe that my role as a writer is to both contribute to the craft as fictionist, and not only the political message or yeah, things like that, and to write about the Philippines, no? And its place in Asia and the world. So there's that bigger context as well. No? If we're fortunate to be read by foreign readers, then at least they have an idea of the Filipino archipelago. But Also, if the audience is local or national, there's that as well, no, to contribute to knowing who we are, no, because not all of us know who we are, and that's an evolving thing.
But what reoccurring themes do you see in the works of Filipino writers across different generations, like the generation before you, your generation, and the generation after you?
A bit broad, no? Parang ano to, tinuturo ko to sa course. I'll try to, but I'll try to give an answer, no? In broad strokes, no? I think different generations would have different historical challenges, no? I remember one of my mentors telling me that, no? Bawat panahon ay may hamon sa bawat henerasyon, no? So, and these challenges, social, political, economic, cultural challenges that each generation faces, will have an impact, I think, on what they will write, no, on what themes that will appeal to them and that will compel them to write, no. But I guess what would be constant is our portrayal of our experiences as Filipinos, no. Of course, you have individual experiences, but also, I think these are in some ways, in many ways, and in a significant way, collectivized in literature. No? When we write, especially, I believe if your genre is the novel, no, it's long form, it's expansive. You can include history, so I think we cannot avoid that. No, that there's always something about their history. No? Whether past, present, no, and about our society. So these would be recurring themes for Filipino writers and for other writers as well. Yeah, an evolving perspective of who we are as a people. I think that's very constant.
How do you think Filipino writers portray the complexities of gender, identity, and empowerment in their works?
Again, I can only speak for myself, no. But these themes, I believe, are part of what people can find in the pages of my novels and of the novels of other Filipino writers, no, which I've read. But for me, I never set out to write about these. No, like unahin ko yun. This should perhaps that's part of the thinking process. No, but never be. I do not begin with broad themes, bigger contexts, and in my fiction technique class, I will always tell my students to avoid beginning with broad themes. No, one must begin with a story. I would tell them. Uh, as a writer, my commitment, I think, is to the story, to the craft, not the message first. No, again, I would like to invoke what a mentor and now a friend of mine, no, also a writer, Jun Cruz Reyes, it stayed with me when I was his student. He said that, in a sense, I think this would be the answer to that question. Hindi mo inuuna yung ending ng kwento. Yung meron ka na, this should be about gender, this equality, this should be about Filipino identity, this, my work should empower and I should get across the message, no? So meron ka ng ending, may message ka na, hindi ka pa nagkikwento, no? And kung nasa kamalayan mo ang mga bagay na yan, no, lalabas yan sa kwento without you forcing, no? Parang yung pilit, di ba? So I think on my part, uh, uh, and what I tell my students as well, I do not begin with a message in mind, no? That will come out of the story. Your characters will have their own lives, and you have to allow them to grow with your story, to tell their stories, no? Perhaps one can begin with one's intentions, no? What are your intentions in the beginning of the writing? Why your intentions in terms of you want what you want to achieve in terms of form, in terms of the content, no? Using the elements of the genre, and yeah, I think that will come out if it's in your consciousness or even in your subconsciousness. So sometimes you won't be aware of it, but if these things are part of your thinking process, they will come out without the writer forcing that the novel should be about these themes.
Are there any particular literary works by Filipino authors that you think have significantly contributed to the feminist discourse in the Philippines?
Mahirap mamili 'no, baka 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 sabihin, ba't ako hindi binanggit?" But anyway, of course, I have my own favorites, and specifically, if you will say feminist writers that I like to read, who are avowed feminists, I believe, Ninochka Rosca, Lilia Quindosa Santiago, Ma'am Chari, no? Rosario Lucero. I have others in mind actually, but I'm not sure if they would want to be identified as feminists. So I am just hesitant because I might miscategorize them. No, but I think what I can claim or argue is that in my personal reading, no, because I carry that feminist lens in reading. When I read them, I think they're contributing to the feminist discourse because they are powerful narratives on women, whether they proclaim themselves to be feminists or not. No, of course, there's Luna Sikat, no, who writes in Filipino, Genevieve Asenjo, and of course, there's Gina Apostol from the 70s or even way earlier. No, another personal favorite of mine are the works of Kerima Polotan Tuvera, specifically because of her the power of her language. No, very quiet storytelling, but very powerful narratives on women. So I like that. No, of course, if you notice, I'm partial to fictionists, novelists. No, because I'm more versed in fiction. I read a lot of fiction, not only as my interest, but that's the genre I teach. That's the genre I study, and also I write in. Also, just a caveat. So, I think because of that, medyo nalilimit din yung personal list ko. But of course, I read poetry also, no, for pleasure. But sometimes, I need to read more fiction.
So you mentioned about how one of your favorite authors likes to write quiet stories of Filipinas, but her language is the way it conveys it in a different way. So I wonder, how has the representation of Filipinas in literature evolved over time?
I think I can relate to this to an earlier question, if I remember correctly. One is that I think, although there are constant themes, uh, the representation will also evolve in different generations. So, alam mo naman, meron tayong yung mga Gen Z, may mga Gen X. So, may iba-iba talagang social cultural predisposition. So, and even ito, admittedly, kahit ako as a feminist, no, parang minsan nire-resist ko yung the different waves na, so to speak, of feminism, no, but there's that reality. So may iba-ibang nagiging concentration, may iba-ibang considerations sa kung ano na yung challenges ngayon as Filipinas, no, as women. So I think based on that, nag-evolve din yung representation because of the changes in society, no, social, cultural influences. Right now, the influence of social media is really significant, and so yan yung mga walang influence at the time I was writing. So ngayon malaki yung influence ng social media, and I think that also is part of what shapes writing now, even in language, even in the way things are communicated or are represented. No, I noticed that in in the stories that my students submit. No, may something different in style, and at the same time sa representation because of different cultural influences. Hindi natin isantabi yung technology and social media as well.
What role did Filipino writers play during key historical periods such as the Spanish colonial era, martial law, and contemporary times?
I have to be honest, I'm not very familiar. But as far as I know, of course, ang mga writers talaga, no, ng panahon ng Spanish colonial era were mostly males, no? Our two great novels were written by Jose Rizal, no? And wala pang manunulat, no? Yeah, in terms of I think practice, no, parang for me, I think nung panahon ng ano, no, American period yan, no, especially because we became educated, our ancestors during the time, no, nakapunta na sila sa States, nakapag-aral na din, and then the Philippine literature in English as tradition also emerged, no. But during martial law and contemporary times, yan talagang because of in publishing of Filipino writers' works, no? And the interest in how female authors, also female novelists, for instance, write, no? And I think mas naging prominent, no, yung role ng Filipino writers, especially in the time of martial law, no. There were a lot of writers who fought outside of their writing, no. So may ganong ano din, no, may ganong impact din, no. Outside of the writing, women writers, yung na-mention ko sa Ninochka, no. She wrote during that time, no. She wrote about our history during the martial law period. And in the contemporary times, I see young writers, no, writing about environment, no, writing about climate change, some of the challenges that face their generation, our generation. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really the problems of your time. That's really what you write about. Um, but then, as a writer yourself, who's a Filipina writer, how did you navigate intersectionality, like being both a woman and then part of a somehow marginalized community in a male dominant industry?
Minsan challenge yan, at the same time, it's really a something that a writer has really to think through very importantly, no, kasi writing is representation, no, fiction is representation. So sometimes of course you do research about the people you want to write about, no, and but because you cannot claim to know about all these subjects that you want to write about. So ano lang ako, as a writer, I'm also careful in terms of writing about things I have no experience of, I have no knowledge of, but that doesn't mean that we should not write about these things, no. Yun lang for me, do research, engage with if I write, I want to have indigenous peoples as character, I have to really engage with them, I have to listen to them, also from the LGBTQ community. So I have to know them, no, I have to have at least engagement with them to be able to write about them. But yun nga, isa yun sa dapat pag-isipan, no, who are we representing, no, in our literary writing, no. Mahirap yung may claim na maging voice, no. That's one thing I'm always careful about in terms of these issues of intersectionality, whether it's about women and things I know of, no, things I'm familiar with. Yes, no.
So, as a Filipina writer yourself, in getting published and reaching wider audiences, what challenges did you face?
Ano to, this is one of the biggest challenges, no, to be published and to be read. Yeah, in the 21st century, no, now in contemporary times, nagkaroon ng ano ng uh, boom, no, nag-prosper, especially in the publishing houses, no. So that's, I think, very positive kasi in the 1990s, no, and even in the early 21st century, uh, hindi ganun kabuhay, no, yung ating publishing industry, and like in other countries, no, na malaki talaga yung publishing industry, no. So we have several only big publishers or mainstream publishers, mostly university based publishing houses, no. So challenge yun, no? Kasi it's not that they don't want to publish, no, young writers or new writers, but they also, I think, have limitations in terms of financing these books because they're university based, no, unlike in the US it's big business, no, but of course may sariling parang disadvantage yun also, no, for writers, but I think that's one of the challenges. Of course, kung wala kasing market, this affects the decision of publishers, no? But as I've said, yung isang magandang development now, no? Yung pag-boom ng indie publishing, no? And as seen in the last Philippine Book Fair, no? Ang daming booth na, no? Ng indie publishing, and yeah, people crowd towards these the books, no, of the indie publishers, no. But in my experience, no, at least the publishers, mainstream publishers I have worked with, no, they really pushed for my work, not only because of its marketability, but it's, I believe, no, worth other than marketability, no. Not only my work, but the writers they publish, no, you will see, na it's just beyond the marketability. Yeah.
So, do you think the publishing industry today, like both indie and mainstream publishing, support Filipino voices in literature?
Yeah, yeah, I think there's more support now, no? Especially in the indie publishing uh, houses, no? I see a lot of young Filipino writers, no? Not only in fiction, but by poets, no? Creative nonfiction. I think that helped a lot, and also even among the mainstream publishers, no? You see that a lot. I think there's a big push towards that because also of readers, no? There are a lot of readers, female readers, no, interested in the works of Filipino writers.
Right. That actually makes me feel a lot better. Yeah. But so I'm actually really interested. This was one of my favorite questions that I came up with. So who are some Filipino authors, both classic and contemporary, that you think people should read more?
Well, I think these are the authors I mentioned. Of course, si Ninochka is already a lot of people, but well known siya, no? Among writers, no, young writers, I think people should also read young writers. Uh, well, the writers I mentioned, no, Luna Sica, Genevieve Aseno, uh, well, si Gina Apostol, marami na rin siyang readers. I think, yeah, um, there are a lot of authors to choose from. Ako naman ayoko mag-advocate ng very specific ones. But siguro ang importante, we read more of our own. No? We read more of our own writers, our own authors. No? Support Filipino writers.
Yeah, nakakatakot nga din eh. Kasi, like, if you enter Fully Booked, it's immediately the display of, like, international authors. Tapos, here where I live, my Fully Booked is like, yung Filipina section, it's tucked away in the corner. Tas konti lang yung selection. So, you really need to encourage people to support Filipina and Filipino authors as well. But if somebody wanted to really take a deep dive into Filipina literature, what author or book would you recommend as a starting point?
My own works. Joke. Yeah, I've read well, meron na rin sila, no? I read the new ones, Dario Delgado, yeah, and also I read recently Kaisa Aquino. Her novel Isabella, no, is really good. Um, I think malaki na rin ang readership ni Luna Sica. She's also a very powerful writer.
Where do you think literature is heading in the next decade? And like, what are the trends that are emerging that excite you?
Well, in terms of of theme, I think there are more exploration of many themes right now, no? Before kasi I'm not saying this is parang negative, no? Kasi dati and I think this should continue, no, yung dapat may nationalism. That's always gonna be part of our writing as Filipino writers, no? But now I see exploration of other themes, no? Like I said, LGBTQ, and then there's about climate change. There's about technology, no, and more writing in other genres, no. Kasi kahit sa genres may hierarchy, ano. Meron yung serious, historical, realist literature, and then the other subgenres parang na set aside. No? But I think uh, there this is more of a wish, no? I wish we would not be hesitant, no, in breaking boundaries, not transgressing traditional genres and themes, no. Um, I hope this won't be controversial. No, let's do less gatekeeping, no, and more transgressive writing, both in form and content. I always emphasize that, no, because writing is really you have to be also a formalist in the sense that you have to study, no, you have to help evolve your genre, the form, before you're able to break, no, down the boundaries, or sabihin mo break the rules of this genre. But yeah, let's break more rules in terms of in terms of the form, and as well as the content, no. Meron kasi mga nagsabi na parang uh, almost everything that has to be written about have been written have been written about, no. Almost all the things that need to be written have been written about. Parang ako naman, I don't think so. There are still so many experiences that are not, and stories untold, no. And sometimes, even if these were written about, I think more experiences about these themes are also being encountered, no. Hindi naman talaga pare-pareho pa yung karanasan, no. And I think what would help, no, is also the way we tell our stories, no. How do we tell a story that has been told many times, no? I think that's a very interesting thing to think about as well. Yeah.
Like as a writer myself, who I don't really have that many older writer friends, or like mentors. So what advice would you give to aspiring Filipino writers who want to tell their stories but are too afraid, or the shy because they're not sure about the publishing scene, stuff like that?
Do not be afraid. I know that the end of parang end goal is to publish, no, but don't be don't make that the main consideration, no. After you finish your manuscript, then you think about finding a publisher, no. But for me, no, I don't think that's where you begin, no, in terms of writing, not in thinking will this be published or not, because that will really, I've experienced that, or that will really stymie you as a writer, no. So just write, no. And as I've said earlier, no, uh, reading and writing, no, they go together, especially there's nothing wrong in learning from other authors who preceded us, no, in terms of writing style, in terms of language, in terms of craft, and I think kaya ako na draw towards writing novels because I really love reading novels, no. So more and more na imbibe mo yung natututuhan mo yung about the form, how to write a novel, no. What's out there in terms of craftsmanship, no. So yeah, uh, there's a time for reading, and then there's a time for writing, no. You just write, especially with novels, no. Novel writing, I've learned to be uh, patient and enjoy the process kasi matagal, no? Tagal talaga, no? If I may share, no, the first one, 6 to 7 years. Yung Akala ko dun sa State of Happiness, no, the third novel, akala ko iksi na. Hindi pa rin, no? Talaga, the journey was still 6 to 7 years. Kasama na yung pag-revise no, sa seventh year, and then you submit, and then may babalik pa sa'yo. So it's the long form, so the process, the time involved is also long, and sometimes it's frustrating kapag medyo hindi mo matuloy, but I think also the joy is in that, no, kasi ganun yung novel, no, you just go through the process and find joy in the writing process, no. And also for young writers, I think, no, hindi to ano na parang to condescend as though I know a lot, no, but just to read beyond what is easy to read, no, or what appeals to one's age, no. Read complex novels kahit na hindi tayo magsusulat ng complex novels, no. And yeah, need to learn about the craft, no, and yeah, go beyond our genres, no. You said you're into script writing, and yeah, this can contribute to your novel writing. Ako, yan yung isa sa mga inaral ko kasi hindi naman ako into drama, script writing, pero yung my students who are into playwriting, ang galing nila gumawa ng dialogue. Ang galing mag-set up ng scene, no? So yeah, this one genre feeding into another, no? We just, yeah, there's that openness to learn, no? And also, kung matagal siguro talagang matapos, no? Especially with the genre we choose to write, I'm talking about the novel, no? So I think, yeah, I hope that helps.
Yes, yes, but thank you so much for that advice. I was actually really, as a aspiring writer that has a day job who like writes at her 5 to 9 after the 9 to 5, it was really amazing. Thank you, Miss Clarissa. That was Clarissa Militante sharing her insights on women in Filipino literature. We hope that this conversation has offered a glimpse into the rich and evolving narratives shaped by Filipina writers. Once again, I'm Jin Garcia, and that was today's episode of Teka Teka. And as an aspiring writer myself, I hope you find this conversation just as inspiring as I did. If you enjoyed today's episode, why not share it with a friend or two? This episode was edited by Anthony Tobias.